Welcome everyone to a monumental episode of AEW Dark. Tonight, Shawn Spears puts his Internet Championship on the line yet again against the Machine Brian Cage of Team Taz in a street fight. And that's going to be chaotic Excalibur. Also on tonight's episode, Santana and Ortiz will be in tag team action. We'll also be hearing from them. Plus, ahead of her Women's Casino ladder match qualified this week on Dynamite, Hikaru Shida steps into the ring. And that's not all, Renee. The AEW World Champion, you may know him, Jon Moxley, is here and in action, ready to take out his frustrations after everything that went down at Blood and Guts. Let's get on with the show. So a good 57 rating for our opening here between Excalibur and Renee, our commentary team for Dark. So here is the card then for tonight. Proud and Powerful in action. Hikaru Shida steps into the ring ahead of Dynamite this week against Big Swole. AEW champion Jon Moxley against Fred Yehi. At our main event, the street fight, the Internet Championship on the line. Shawn Spears against Cage. So, footage is taken from social media. It shows Santana and Ortiz last week heading into a training complex in Mexico for Lucha Libre Triple R. Conan is seen opening the door for them. So, as we know, last week on Dynamite, they were nowhere to be seen when Chris Jericho was calling for them in the Inner Circle locker room. Well, now we know last week on Wednesday they were in Mexico with Conan, and it seems as though they've maybe taken his advice after they bumped into him backstage just the other week. Well, they are back now, and they are here and ready to take on Top Flight on AEW Dark. And in about that, had decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling. Proud and Powerful defeat Top Flight in 10 minutes 48. Santana pinning Darius, the match getting a 50 segment rating. Santana and Ortiz very consistent there with their in-ring performances, 62 all around, and it's nice to see that Dante and Darius, they seem to be improving as well. Well, after the match, Santana and Ortiz celebrate with the ref holding their arms aloft. They turn on Top Flight and begin to attack them, not happy with the punishment they have already dealt. Santana and Ortiz look more aggressive than usual. We saw this in real life going probably back a couple of months on Dark, and they seemed so great in the ring, so aggressive, a new side to them, and we thought maybe, there's going to be a title run here, but we never got it in the end, did we? Well, let's see how this one plays out. In about that, didn't have much heat, terrible wrestling. Shida overcomes Big Swole in 11 minutes after a Full Metal Muffler, the match getting a 27. Shida the better performer in this match, the match cooling the crowd a little. I think we've always got to expect that here on Dark. But Shida going into her match this week on Dynamite against Riho with a win under her belt. In a decent match, Jon Moxley defeats Fred Yehi in 5 minutes 45. It was domination, as you'd expect from the AEW World Champion. The finish was a paradigm shift, very decisive, quick 3 count, and that was all she wrote for Fred Yehi. Jon Moxley ain't messing around after making quick work of his opponent tonight, the world champion, in a foul mood. He looked better than ever. He looked sharp. He helps Fred Yehi to his feet, looks him in the eye, shrugs and says to him, "I'm sorry, the nail's a paradigm shift." Mox collects his AEW World title and leaves. So Jon Moxley is irritated at the moment after what happened back at Blood and Guts with Kenny Omega attacking him from behind and Nick and Matt just standing there letting it happen. We get a 73 for this segment. Jon Moxley, well, things could turn ugly for Kenny Omega if he's not careful. In our main event then, it's a street fight in about that had good heat, decent wrestling. Shawn Spears defeats Brian Cage in a hardcore match in 12 minutes 37 by pinfall with a tiebreaker following interference from Mance Warner. Shawn Spears makes defense number 9 of the Internet Championship title. No one can beat him for it. Tad's doing some good work at ringside. Brian Cage, the much better performer in this match. It was difficult to put Spears over because you would expect Brian Cage in this sort of match to go over as well. But I felt we've kind of masked that with having Mance Warner get involved and helping Shawn Spears, if you will. Shawn Spears picks up the win after receiving a little help from Mance, who rocked Cage right between the eyes with his beer cooler. Taz watches on, livid, with Mance Warner. Spears comes around in the ring and is confronted by Mance Warner, who stands tall above him. Spears then climbs to his feet. Mance doesn't mess around. He swiftly kicks Spears in the midsection and delivers his DDT. He grabs a couple of light beers, lies down next to him perched up on an elbow with a mic in hand and says, "Shawnee boy, how about next week here on Dark? I challenge you for this here title." "Oh, what's that?" He leans in close to Spears, listening. "Oh, you accept? So kind." He pours a little beer over Spears, which brings him round slightly, drinks some himself, gets up and leaves, as Dark this week comes to an end. So, next week, we're going to have Mance Warner against Shawn Spears for the AEW Internet Championship. We get a 54 for this segment. It's been a pretty decent show, so I'm expecting a much higher rating compared to last week's show rating. And we get 60. That's a big jump. Didn't we get 50 or 52 on last week's show? I think it was 52. So that is a massive jump. Probably all thanks to the inclusion of the AEW World Champion Jon Moxley. Anyway, that is it for this episode of Dark. Join me for Dynamite. You don't want to miss it.